Hey everyone, just want to encourage you to find us on your listening platform and give us a rating. Anywhere you listen to that has a rating system, go on over and give us a rating and maybe leave us a review. Let us know your thoughts. These ratings really do help. Thank you so much for listening. On to this week's episode. Hello, Rolando. Are you surprised? This is what you've reduced me to. I guess you thought you'd get away with it. Well, you can't. Because part of you is growing inside of me. And that's a fact, Rolando. And you better start learning how to deal with it.
Man, I'm so glad I never had to really deal with love-scorned women in my life.
Have you ever had to deal with a scorned man?
Not to this level of obsession. I was actually wondering that while I was watching this movie and the TV show. Would this happen in the gay community? I'm sure, but like not to this extent, right? Like lesbians, forget it. I'd imagine there'd be probably a relationship where both of these are the two women.
It's two Alexes. Wow, just way too completely stereotype. You know, I would love to see a gay version of this, either side. And this is a movie where it's like, man, allegiances. And I'm really wondering who your allegiance is to when it comes to Dan and Alex. So, and if you don't know what we're talking about Fatal Attraction, the 1987 movie by Adrian Lyne and the new Paramount Plus television series based off of it. Yes, it's a thing if you didn't know about it. So yeah, guys, let's do it. Let's just buckle up for a wild night.
A fun weekend.
With no strings attached. Hopefully. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Rolando.
And I'm Eddie Z.
And this is Remakes, Reboots, and Revivals.
An original podcast
about
unoriginality. So you guys went away this weekend. Before we get into the episode, tell me a little bit about your weekend getaway.
Eddie and I, we went camping out in the Poconos, and it was fun. It was chill.
Glamping or camping?
It was glamping. Little cabin in the woods, outside, bathroom services.
Oh, okay. Nice. The Poconos are really pretty, so that must have been really relaxing.
Weather was perfect.
Yes, you guys lucked out for sure. Were you like near Bushwick?
I have not a clue where that is.
Were you near East Stroudsburg?
We passed it.
You passed it. Okay, so you were a little bit more in. You weren't by like the waterfall.
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. The Poconos are pretty huge, that whole area.
I thought the Poconos were literally just like, I don't know, an acre or something. An
acre?
Yeah, and it's so close. It's like, what, 2 hours?
Yeah, about. It's like the worst part was actually getting to it through Route 80 because that was just a traffic nightmare. But no, it was pretty chill, pretty cool.
Yeah, for anyone who's not in like the East Coast, New York, New Jersey area, the Poconos is in Pennsylvania, and it's like mountainous area that you can easily access right on like the tip of either New York or New Jersey entering into Pennsylvania. And it's kind of like a really easy nature-esque vacation getaway for this area. Mm-hmm. But it's nothing compared to the other mountainous regions of this country. But, it's what we have. So.
Yep.
Yeah. But cool.
It's cool. I liked it. I had fun. It was just a very, very relaxing weekend. So thank you for asking.
Yes, of course.
Do you want me to ask about your weekend? Is that what you're fishing for?
Not if you don't mean it.
How was your weekend?
Let's just move on. I can barely remember what I did this weekend, honestly. It's just been so crazy in terms of everything happening in my life and getting ready for my vacation next week at the same time, which is Paris. So I'm like brain dead, but I'm fully mentally prepared for today. So that's good news.
That's good. But before we get into it, I do have some news.
Let's get some news. News.
I like this. Beginning each week with some little remakes, reboots, revivals, news.
Let's do it.
And this one, I don't know if anyone is interested. I was interested when I found out, but it turns out that Showtime is going to be reviving Weeds and Nurse Jackie. Have you ever seen those shows?
I have seen Weeds, a little bit of it. Nurse Jackie, not so much. Those are very recent shows.
They're not. I mean, they're almost as old as Dexter, to be honest.
Like 10 or so years, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Wow. So Showtime's just Dexter, L Word, those two.
Yeah,
Queer as Folk.
I get. You know, actually, Queer as Folk wasn't even though. That was a Peacock original. That wasn't even a Paramount original, which is who owns Showtime.
Yeah, true.
So
how long do you think before they'll revive Shameless?
Good question. I mean, I'm surprised there hasn't been a Shameless spinoff. I've never seen it though, to be honest.
It's so funny.
Me neither.
I literally just watch clips of the show. Somehow randomly it'll pop up on my feed.
Is it the gay couple?
And not just that, but like moments when they have to deal with a specific person that's out of control. You know, like moments where they're like put like against like the man and how they handle it.
Wow.
And I just love it because they know how to get revenge.
Your phone,
sweet
your
revenge.
phone knows how to give you what you need, you know, because that's relatable for you. So
it's that algorithm. But yeah, so Weeds and Nurse Jackie. I'm really curious to know how they're going to bring back Weeds because I don't remember if I finished it.
The cast like Mary Louise Parker?
I think Mary Louise Parker. I mean, how do you do Weeds without Mary Louise Parker? The show got weird. You know, it derailed.
As most Showtime shows do.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole season where, like, her youngest son was, like, fantasizing about, like, these nudie photos that he found of her when she was younger and stuff. And it was, like, creepy. Yeah, your face says it all.
Yeah.
I think that's about the point where I stopped watching, where they were, like, in Mexico also.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, just, you know, take it back to the simpler first season times, guys.
And the other
Don't
thing
need to go weird.
Yeah, the other thing about Weeds I want to point out is just like that's an interesting show to bring back, considering how marijuana culture has changed in America. It's not illegal. It's you know, it's like allowed in a lot of states now. So it's like there's not a taboo around it. So I don't know why bother. Nurse Jackie, that one I understand the appeal. It's a nurse, you know, maybe we'll focus post-pandemic on like this nurse who already had like this crippling addiction to opioids. So what does a post-pandemic Nurse Jackie look like? I'm curious. I want to know. Plus anything to get more Edie Falco, to be quite honest.
That's right. That is Edie Falco. Yeah, I never saw it, so I can't say much.
Well, you may have to.
I think, I guess so. I just heard that Sister Act 3 has been officially declared and coming in 2024.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoopi's back though, right?
Yeah, they released the poster and it said, you know how it was Sister Act 2 Back in the Habit? Guess what Sister Act 3's tagline is?
What's a pun with 3 and nuns? I don't know.
Well, think more like, you know, so Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit. Sister Act 3.
Still in the habit?
You're close. Kicking the habit.
Oh, okay, that's cute.
Yeah. So, but Kathy Najumi's going to come back.
Oh, nice.
The mousy white girl is going to come back. And then Bette Midler and Keke Palmer are going to be in it.
Oh, I love anything Keke Palmer is in lately.
Maggie Smith going to be in it?
That I have not heard. Feel like we need Maggie Smith.
Is Maggie Smith? She's still kicking, right?
She's still alive.
Kicking. She just did a movie.
She's still kicking the habit.
She just did a movie? Well, that was not just did a movie, but she did the movie, the British,
Downton Abbey. The Downton Abbey.
Yeah. It was like,
I mean, we just did Peter Pan not that long ago, and I remember thinking, just like, God, she was like already like ancient back then.
She was mature.
She's been playing elderly people her entire career.
Right.
And she's actually like 50 years old.
Right, exactly. There was one more piece of announcement that you just reminded me of. Oh, Beetlejuice 2 is also officially confirmed.
Yes,
that
with
will be
Winona, Michael Keaton.
Johnny Depp, isn't he been rumored to be in the cast also?
He possibly can be since, you know, he's back and it's Tim Burton. So,
you excited for it? What you feeling like?
I don't know. I would only get excited if I heard Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin were going to come back.
Oh, but you know what? Baldwin needs to win right now, so.
Yeah, he does, yeah. And I'm ready for Gina Davis to be back in movies. So.
That's another one who I forgot about. in
Yeah.
general.
But I know
Ish.
Jenna Ortega is going to be in it, so they'll probably just make her a ghost. Or
Damn,
something.
Jenna Ortega's gonna be like the new Hollywood it girl. I hope she doesn't fizzle out.
Same. Hope they don't kill her. Like,
Right.
Put her everywhere. So.
Kill her like Alex.
Hey.
Yeah.
Nice segue.
Thank you.
So what were you doing in 1987, Rolando?
Being a baby, basically, because I was born at the beginning of 1987.
Being born. Yeah. 1987, I've said it before on this podcast, and I will say it again. Pretty pivotal year of the 80s. We've covered a couple of things already, I think, from this year. What they are, I can't tell you, but I think we have. So let's play a little game.
Okay.
Fatal Attraction made the top 10 highest grossing films of that year.
Oh, did it? Awesome.
It did. What number did it get? You got
9.
3 tries. That's your first guess. 9.
That's my
incorrect.
first guess. Okay. Eddie, do you want to take a guess? 3.
Incorrect.
Okay. Can you give us a higher, lower?
Higher.
Really? Number 1?
Lower. It was number 2
That's
was close.
shocking for
at the box office. Yeah. For an
this was
adult erotic
drama.
thriller. Yeah.
that's the category. This is an erotic thriller.
This would never happen now. Not in a million years. People wouldn't even go to the theater to see this type of film. This would come straight to
Never
a
say
streaming
never.
service.
I'd agree with that, but
Yeah.
never say never. Like, movies surprise us all the time.
They do.
Look at Super Mario Brothers.
So nowadays, the only things that qualify for like a theater release is either horror, franchise, or just something that's like really quote unquote epic. And even some of those are going to be released to streaming. Like Martin Scorsese's epic film, Killers of the Flower Moon, is also going to simultaneously be on Apple TV.
Oh, who cares about Martin Scorsese? I'm so over him.
It actually looks really interesting, though, because it's about the Osage tribe and what had happened to them.
I'm never getting over The Irishman. It was an awful movie. I don't care what anyone says.
So it's just kind of mind-boggling. And like Fatal Attraction was a zeitgeist moving moment. Like everybody saw it, and it just was on the tongues of everybody, and it really hit a nerve with the American public. So when did you see this film?
Today.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
how was your familiarity with this film?
So it turns out I knew one of the scenes. The scene where Glenn Close is like turning on and off the light. Because it was referenced in Seinfeld. I never understood the reference. I just thought it was just
There
a
you
funny
go.
scene in Seinfeld as the opera is playing in the background.
How many times did you see this movie and go, that's where that's from? That's where that's from. Like you
A
probably
few
said that a
times.
few times.
A
Yeah.
few times,
It's
but
a
yeah.
hugely referenced film, I think.
Yeah, no, it was. That was. What was the question? What was my take?
Familiarity with it before you saw it.
Yeah, I think that's really it. Like, not that much outside of that. Like, I wasn't. It's not a movie that I think about.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a movie that I'm like thinking about every day, but at the same time, I think it's a really interesting film because of how people react to it. And when it first came out, it got a really strong reaction that tended to be a one-sided reaction, so much so that it kind of came this thing where it was like, oh, bitch from hell, or like, this is what happens, you know, to poor men who cheat, who just decide to have a fling one weekend. And it's very much like everyone who viewed this film in the 80s took Dan's side. And I began this podcast
That makes
with
sense, though.
saying allegiances. I think this is a film, though, that interestingly enough, there's so much historically to the making of the film, but I think that the opinion of this film and the perspective as to whose side to be on has greatly shifted.
Interesting. I don't know, like, I understand why people take the side of Dan Gallagher. That makes sense. He was the protagonist. We're following his story, and it's I was gonna say Michael Keaton, but it's not right. Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas.
Lovable, right? But
Lovable.
he was, I don't know if I would say he's wholly, innocent in this. He did cheat on his wife I don't know. But Glenn Close's character, Alex, was also just so clearly, she has,
Unhinged.
what's the PC way of saying this? She's like, she has clearly a mental disorder. clinically diagnosable.
I would say
Yeah.
more behavioral health concern.
Okay, yeah, there you go. That's the more PC way of saying it. So, but you
Yeah.
know, they say that. I think they say that on Arrested Development, right? You don't fuck crazy.
You don't. I mean, so yeah, this movie kind of went out of its way to portray Alex as very negative. And actually, before we go forward, you guys know that there was originally a different ending.
Ooh,
I heard about this. I heard about this.
Yeah.
I didn't know the ending, but I
Tell me. Well, hang on.
So
Before
I
we get
meant
into the
to-
ending, we should really
I meant
go
to
into the
actually
plot.
text
I
you
think,
guys.
right?
Wait, hold on. But before I do,
Okay.
I meant to text you guys, but I was like, oh, they're away this week and they won't see it. It's on YouTube, and I wanted you to watch it immediately after you saw the original film, so you could kind of
will
like
make
have
sure
a
that-
fresh thing.
Add that to the link
Yes.
in the bio.
So I will do that. But yeah, we're if you don't know Fatal Attraction, I feel like most people at least are aware of the fact that it's about, a weekend cheat gone wrong. But sure, let's kind of like summarize this movie. So Dan Gallagher, he's a very successful, happily married lawyer in Manhattan. He's married to Beth. And Beth, played by Ann Archer, is a beautiful woman. She might even be more beautiful. Actually, she probably is more classically defined as beautiful than Glenn Close is, right?
Yes.
And it's actually really important that she's as beautiful as she is. Adrian Lyne, the filmmaker of this, who also made Flashdance, who also made 9.5 Weeks, who also made Lolita. He's known for his sex movies. He was like, she has to be beautiful.
The wife. Wait, that's interesting. Why do you think the wife has to be beautiful? Because
at the end of the movie, he has to have something worth killing for in order. And she, Beth, is worth killing for.
Interesting. So
horrible.
I don't know.
Isn't that crazy? But
yeah, because
it's
I don't know
kind of
if,
true.
Yeah, I don't know if
What if
I
she
don't know
was
if I
ugly?
agree with that.
But what if she was not as classically beautiful?
I think I don't, because I was thinking like, oh, I don't know. If she wasn't as classically beautiful, I don't know if that would matter, right? Like, what if it was like a mom bod, right? Is that a thing? That's not a term, but like a fully figured woman who clearly has had a child, because this woman looks like she has not had a child. Let's be very honest with ourselves here.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, oh my God, that reminds me.
But
The meanest thing anyone ever tweeted I saw recently was just like, this woman after giving birth to her kid like a few weeks ago. It's just like, I'm back to my pre-pregnancy weight. It's just like, whoa, like what an assault on all womankind.
I know, right? And like, yeah, weight is such a touchy subject, and we're getting better at like, hey, accept your body for whatever you are. Yeah, and I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know how I got into that little tangent, but it was something that just crossed my mind as I'm thinking about the hot wife.
Yeah. I mean, I think you guys are right that that's kind of fucked up, but that's also but that's how people work, especially men, in terms of would all of this be worth it for some short pudgy wife? No, like this beautiful stay-at-home angelic woman who is the version of what we want women to be,
right,
is worth it.
But she's also, but I don't know, because like, wouldn't you fight for the mother of your child, I think, over the skag you met at a bar?
Yes, but she also, it helps really drive it home if she's gorgeous.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I understand. Yes, like, obviously that makes sense as to why the director chose a more beautiful wife than Glenn Close, because, I mean,
Yeah, because
not that
also
Glenn Close is unattractive, but like, she has very sharp features.
unique features, yeah. Because also at the end of the movie when he kills for her, spoiler alert, is it worth it? Well, for Beth, that beautiful woman, absolutely it is. If she's not as classically beautiful, was
He
it
didn't
worth
kill her.
killing Beth for? Yes, we will get to that.
Oh, okay, fine.
But, All right, so moving on. He pretty much is at a bar, like at an event, I think a book event. And he's there with his friend, and the friend tries to randomly hit on Alex, right? And the intro to this character, Alex, played by Glenn Close, is this friend hitting on her, and she just stares at him, right?
Yeah.
And from the moment we meet her, I'm on her side.
That's how you're on her side?
I'm like, that's right. This fucking gross-ass man trying to talk to you, thinking he can get up in your space and talk to you like this, that's how you treat a man. You don't have to be polite. You don't have to fake conversation if you don't want to. Like, you have the right to just stare at a person and say, leave me the fuck alone with your eyes.
I think that's fair, yeah.
Applaud her for that. And that's the thing. Like, most women would not do that. But Alex does do that, and I appreciate her for it. Later on, he sees her again. They start talking, and they instantly hit it off. And they begin an affair when his wife is away for the weekend.
Now, does that qualify as an affair? Because I thought an affair is like a really extended period of time. Does a weekend count for an affair?
I guess we should look up the definition of it, but I think technically an affair is if you sleep with someone else.
I thought that was just cheating.
No, I think
that just, I don't think there's a time limit on this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm just saying, I'm not
I
like,
think
not,
they're both
not to
mean
get
the
lost in
same thing.
semantics here, but
Yeah.
I just feel like usually an affair is more like you're messing around, like sneaking off constantly and stuff, like unfaithful. That was an affair.
Well, technically, he did sleep with her more than once, so he did have an affair.
That was over a weekend, though. I don't know. There's like still one short little period of time.
You're being awfully forgiving of him.
No, I'm not. I actually no. Dan is a horrible, horrible person. So,
okay.
like,
Okay.
I don't. But I'm just saying. It's just like, but does this qualify as an affair? That's the question.
No, yeah, you're. That's a good point. Like, to me, like whenever someone's like, I have a crush on them, I have feelings for them. I'm like, what's the difference? Is there a difference?
There is. I think.
No,
Is there?
It's more the language and what meaning are you giving behind these words?
Yeah, like, I feel like a crush means like it's like physical only, but like I have feelings for someone. It means it's a little bit more. I know them a little bit, and I like this person.
Well, it depends on It depends on the situation, but most of the time I think it means the same. And there's two types of affairs. There's physical affairs and emotional affairs. And Dan pretty much has both with Alex.
Correct.
They really like hit it off. They have chemistry. And Michael Douglas and Glenn Close are good actors because you feel the chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why these two want to fuck. And I don't know who I'm going to give it to more, but I think Glenn Close had the harder job to do in this movie. So I'm going to give it to Glenn Close. She would say that for years, men would approach her and be like, you scared the shit out of me. You made me feel like I never wanted to cheat ever. Like, just men saying that she traumatized them, which is kind of insane.
That is insane. It's just like, oh, your performance makes me not want to cheat. I'm just like, how about just respecting your wedding vows?
Exactly.
That should be enough. I think.
Yeah. So slowly things start to shift within their hot affair because one night he like opens up to her about the fact that he had he was traumatized from a performance of Madame Butterfly, the opera, and it's like this really intimate moment. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave, and she gets upset because she's like, wow, I thought we actually had something real here, and now you're just upping me and making me feel like a booty call. You're making me feel like garbage, right? And he's like, well, I gotta go. So she keeps calling him, and he starts ignoring her. And this is when she says the iconic line, soon to be, I won't be ignored, Dan. She says a lot of shit to him, pretty much. They have a lot of exchanges. And he starts saying, like, you can't do this. What's wrong with you? We had a one-night stand. And I actually wrote down some of the quotes that she said that I want to say right now.
You missed the fact that she cut her wrists the first time that, like, he was going to go back home.
That's right. I forgot that was the order. Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of a big red flag, in my opinion.
Kind of a huge red flag. Yeah. She immediately just kind of, exhibiting off the
handlebars. She's like saying it's like, all right, let's make up. And they start kissing passionately while she's bleeding all over. He's like, why are your hands wet? Oh my God. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and then just keep thinking, it's just like, you don't bang crazy. Obviously, that's...
So some of the quotes she says in this movie: please don't justify yourself as pathetic.
Please don't
justify yourself as pathetic, because he says to her, like, I can't believe, you're doing this to me. He says, look at yourself and all this stuff. And he's like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. I have a wife. She's like, please don't justify yourself as pathetic. If you told me to fuck off, I'd have more respect for you.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, that line.
He's not being real. She calls him out for it, right? When he tries to dismiss her again, she says, you mean you've had your fun, now you just want a quiet life, right? Again, calls him out. Valid. fucking valid ass shit she says to him. He tells her, you need help. She says, don't tell me what I need.
Right.
It's true, though. Like, who are you to fucking say this?
Well,
like,
hang on.
There's just
time
so
out.
many things that she says that I'm on her side for. Now,
I'm
I'm not
play
on her
devil's advocate
side.
here.
I'm not on her side for cutting wrists. I want to say that.
Fine. But, like, hang
That's
on.
manipulative.
She knew this was an affair going in, though.
Yes, but at
this
the
is just
same
me playing devil's advocate, by the way. I
Right.
don't condone
But
their
then,
behavior.
okay, so you get into an affair with someone, right? So does that mean that that person who's married has to call all the shots? You don't have a say in it? Like, what
I
are the
think so.
rules for that?
This is why they invented Ashley Madison, because the idea is you find other people who are married and have something to lose equally. You don't cheat if media taught us anything. You don't cheat with someone who's single, right? You cheat with someone who has something equally as much to lose.
Absolutely.
That's the key
that's-
takeaway here from Fatal Attraction, guys.
Guys, if you're going to cheat, find another person in a sad relationship. I mean, I feel like she's not wrong for expecting I mean, he engaged with her in the first place. So if she were to be like, he's unhappy, he wants to leave her wife, because he's with her, it's not a wrong idea for her to want more from him.
No, I think it is.
I think it's his fault for engaging with her in the first place and then getting mad at her for having false expectations when he never clearly stated what his intentions were in the first place.
What? Do we know that he never stated? Because he did say, like, I'm married. She's like, I don't care.
Yeah,
Basically.
but just because he's married doesn't mean that he doesn't want to conduct something real with her. Because people have affairs for very long times and whole relationships while with someone else.
I know. I guess this is the exception, not the rule.
Yes. So that's the thing. I think he gets upset that he did the wrong thing, and now he has to, deal with this, with consequences because of it. And she's not just going away, and it's now endangering his life, and he only cares about himself. He doesn't care about this woman at all.
I'm glad you said that it's endangering his life, because for the first part of the movie, this idea of endangering his life is not really he's not in danger. His lifestyle is in jeopardy, but not in any physical danger. He gets in physical danger later on.
Yes.
Right? But, like, for the most part, it's just, as you said, not dealing with the consequences, the fallout of your actions that he's afraid of. That's what he is a coward.
He's 100% a coward. And that's the thing, like, if you were to cheat and then somebody were to, like, actually want things out of you or just didn't do what you expected them to, like, would you blame them for that? Or is that your fault?
I would blame them, probably.
You would blame them, even though you engaged in the affair in the first place?
Yeah, I just feel like, I thought there was, like, an unwritten rule about affairs.
Guys, if you have affairs, just make sure you're on the same page with the person you're having the affair with.
I'm sure there's, like, a book, I bet you, on, like, how to have an affair properly.
Yeah.
It's probably, like, Victorian also.
So Alex starts just showing some real, like, personality disorder signs. She starts becoming incredibly impulsive, emotionally unstable. She reacts poorly to being dumped and abandoned. And, suicide ideation, self-harm, very, problematic behaviors to show in a relationship of any kind.
Right.
So, of course, he puts a restraining order against her. He, like, relocates his family. And she's just not, she works around all of it.
That restraining order, like, how does that work if, wouldn't his wife have found out? Like,
I know, yeah.
It's, you don't just get a restraining order just for willy-nilly, right? You have to
Yeah, you really need to, like, go through.
But it was also the 80s. I feel like maybe back then it was just like.
Well, doesn't he say, like, it's for a client or something, like he's really sneaky about it?
Yeah, that's true. He was a little sneaky.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. So they had a daughter. I wasn't aware that it was a daughter until towards the end of the movie when she got.
You weren't aware as a girl.
It wasn't. I wasn't aware she was a girl. I thought he was a boy because I don't remember them mentioning the name until she's looking for Ellen. Ellen. I'm just like, who is Ellen? Is that the babysitter or something?
Yeah.
I was so confused at that portion.
Yeah. Well, the kid doesn't even factor into, like, he doesn't give a shit about her until she's actually in danger, you know?
That's true. Yeah.
So,
when Alex goes crazy and kidnaps a child. See, that's I think it was a bold move on her part.
It was. I mean, she kidnaps a child. You know, she when she really goes down, and this is when it gets into actually brand new ending forced by the studio territory, is the rabbit stuff. That was not any part of the original.
Okay.
As far as I know, the original ended with the knife threat.
The knife,
scene.
the first knife threat. Because there's a knife threat that happens at her house where like him and her are fighting.
You talking about the original ending?
The original ending is
I'm talking about when the original ending picks up. I think it's like
because there's two knife fights. The first one is
it's the second
at
knife
her
fight.
apartment, and the second knife fight is at the home. At like his home.
You know what? I can't say for certain, but pretty much like the whole like going batshit crazy and killing the pet rabbit was not part of the original ending. Do you want me to tell you what the original ending was?
But the rabbit.
I just saw it.
Oh,
you just
Eddie,
watched
you just
it.
watched it. Wow.
So,
thank you for being so participating.
guys, I encourage you to go on YouTube and watch it. But it actually becomes a very similar situation to Promising Young Woman. Do you remember that film?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yes. So Alex doesn't take out any of this on the family. She leaves the family alone. And what she does instead is while listening to Madame Butterfly, she kills herself in the same fashion as Madame Butterfly. And she did something that she frames it so that he will now be held responsible for her murder.
Oh, that is, I bet you. Okay, we're going to jump. Just remind me to get to that point for the remake.
Yes.
That now suddenly makes, and I called it because of Gone Girl. I've called it.
Now, what a great ending. What a like, wow, that's why you don't fucking like, oh my God. And also, I think a little bit more realistic for her behavioral problems. I feel like it goes into complete camp and like almost insulting.
Oh, the final act of the film? I would agree.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. I kind of was just like, wow, this was a really good movie. This third act kind of derails a little bit.
It does,
like,
yeah.
After the child kidnapping, actually, when the child gets kidnapped, I actually enjoyed that scene because there was tension in that scene. That's immediately followed by his reaction in which he goes to her place and like assaults her. Again, I'm here with the story because like that makes sense. Like you mess with his child, now of course he's gonna like react like this. Where it goes into like that kind of that cartoonish territory is where we're at their house. She's like trying to kill the wife, and then like she comes back from being drowned. It was just like silly.
It was silly, yeah.
Which is a shame because like otherwise it was like a fantastic movie.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And so I'm going to read you some things. After doing test screenings, Josh Farrell, who handled the test screenings, suggested that Paramount shoot a new ending because audiences rejected it. They did not want to see Dan suffer. They were all on Dan's side. Glenn Close comments that she had doubts about reshooting the film's ending because she believed that the character would actually self-destruct and commit suicide. Close eventually gave in on her concerns and filmed the new sequence after fighting hard for 2 weeks. She refused to do it for 2 weeks.
How much do you think they paid her?
I know, right? Like, we'll double your salary. Close described how protective she was of her character, whom she never thought of as a villain, stating...
Well, I feel like Glenn Close is wrong on that.
Stating, I wasn't playing a generality. I wasn't playing a cliche. I was playing a very specific, deeply disturbed, fragile human being who I had grown to love.
Okay. Maybe Glenn Close is a little unhinged, is my takeaway from that. No, I jest, guys.
But yeah, the movie became the success it was because of that ending, because people were like literally out of their seats cheering for it. Because if you think about this film metaphorically, about women and their roles in society in terms of the 1980s point of view, this film sums it up, right? Like, think of Alex as like women in the workforce versus Beth, who's women who stay home. Who wins out?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Who's like the one that the audiences are choosing? Who's the more beautiful one? Who's the sane, level-headed one? And who wins, right? And also, what happens...
sounding very Floridian, like Ron DeSantis, very Republican GOP-ish, now that you're telling me this.
So. But it's also like men don't want women to be anything other than these stay-at-home wives. You know, like they want it's
In
kind
this
of
economy, you know, it's just
But that's the thing, like, Alex, you enter a workforce and you have everything and you're successful, and yet men won't respect you. And of course you're going to lose your fucking mind if, yes, everything you have except for respect, men will still treat you like garbage. Like, that's actually incredibly relatable as a woman. You know, I can't tell you how many times men take their frustrations out on me at work because I'm one of the only women near them.
Yeah. I don't have many women near me to take out my frustrations on.
Yeah, and don't you hate it?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead. What?
You've taken your frustrations out.
On?
Me?
I said woman.
Yeah, you got me there.
Yeah.
But essentially, this is a movie about two women who are pitted against each other, and they have to literally fight to the death over a mediocre-ass man.
Let's get to that point a little, right? I do want to get to that. I was waiting for you to bring it up. He is mediocre. We can agree on this, right?
Absolutely.
Like, I don't even think he's being portrayed as like a sugar daddy type of situation. He's not rich.
No.
He's just, he's middle class.
If this is like the male ideal, like, wow. Like,
Exactly.
this is what you want to be, guys.
But here's the other thing that drives me a little, not worrisome, but I question the character of Alex. It's just like, what did you see in him? Like, what? How good is the dick for you to go so crazy for him? You know? Because let's be real, you look at him and you have to wonder, it's just, it can't be that good. There's just no way.
Nope. But that's the thing, like, it's not even the dick is so good. Like, wow, here's someone who she feels seen. She feels like she could connect with someone. And then once again, like every other fucking man, he treats her like fucking shit and doesn't allow her to have a say in something that concerns her.
Yeah.
Of course she goes fucking mad. I'm sorry. As a woman, I find her so relatable. And I too, close, feel very protective of this character. Because I think, like, except for that ending, like, I think that she has issues, but I know why she does. The world has made her this way.
But do you think it's okay for her to kidnap the child?
Absolutely not. I'm not
Okay.
saying that what she did was right. I just
okay.
understand her.
Oh, okay.
Dear Alex. All right. So yeah, this movie just, it's such a cathartic ending for a specific type of audience. You know, it's so.
I mean, even with how cartoonish the ending is, I thought it was still this was quite the enjoyable film to watch.
It's a very enjoyable
surprised
film.
it took me literally, how old am I? 36 years
36?
to watch this film.
Yeah, since it came out, because it's 36 years old.
Yeah.
It's a highly successful movie. It was like #1 at the box office for 2 months. Like I said, it was a cultural zeitgeist. And this is a movie that it was only a matter of time before they did something with it. And lo and behold, Paramount, who, like Showtime, I feel like is having trouble with new IP, is like, let's just resurrect some of our old IPs. So they decided to move forward with a Fatal Attraction television series. Do you know anything about the pre-production for this, Rolando?
I have some stuff pulled up. So it was first announced in February of 2021. And I think, it was in development for Paramount Plus. The first cast member to be announced was Lizzie Kaplan, who I think excited a lot of people. Oh, yeah, great casting. I love Lizzie Kaplan. This is our second property we're covering with Lizzie Kaplan this year, right?
That's right.
Yeah. And Joshua Jackson will later on get cast as Dan. And
Amanda Peet as Beth.
Amanda Peet eventually got cast as Beth, who, as I was telling Eddie, I'm just like, oh, it's so funny seeing Amanda Peet and Joshua Jackson on TV together. He was just like, why is that interesting? And I'm just like, because they're both like WB stars.
Yep.
You know, like they're both like from the WB. She was on the show Jack and Jill, and he was obviously Dawson's Creek.
Oh, wow. I didn't think of it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. So I want to, before we go on, I just want to complain about something real quick. Whoever the costume designer is or makeup I guess, makeup probably in this show should really consider getting a new line of work, because the haircut they gave Joshua Jackson to portray a 40-year-old man in the early aughts is just so wildly inaccurate. It drives me crazy. It is the ugliest hair I have seen. It really ages. He's supposed to be playing 40, not 60.
Now, what did you think of Glenn Close's hair again?
I liked her hair, her blonde
guy hair.
Yeah,
Her
like that
wild
crazy
curls. Yeah,
those wild. I first of all, I love curls on women,
same.
so I was here for it. That's why I'm so glad Lizzie Kaplan kept the curls. I'm glad she didn't go platinum blonde though.
Yeah.
I don't know if her facial structure.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I completely agree. And it's so interesting because we identified Dan Gallagher as a very mediocre man. I think this version kind of embraced that and went wholeheartedly with it.
Well,
in terms
did they?
of...
Because I don't know. He's a rising star in the legal world, up for judgeship. So he seems more accomplished than the previous version of Dan.
I suppose, yeah.
In my opinion. And the only and he's like, let's be very real. Like, Joshua Jackson is a very attractive man still. I think the only thing is just that hair really ages him up in a way that's not flattering. Because like when he takes off his clothes, it's just like, yo, homeboy still got it. But the hair, I look at it, I'm just like, good God, what a turnoff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Honestly, I kind of thought that, like, I was surprised by Joshua Jackson. And
why?
I was surprised kind of by the whole show.
Okay. Well, I too was surprised by the whole show because just like, how do you, why? Who asked for this?
Yeah, seriously. Why? So the show kind of realized a lot of things about the original film.
Mm-hmm.
And it wanted to improve upon that or maybe have a conversation with it.
Okay.
So of course they're going to expand more into character, right? Like, why does Dan do what he does? Because in the original movie, he's just a fucking piece of shit who wants to have an affair because he, sparks a good conversation with this woman at a bar.
Agreed. Here they gave Dan a little bit more reason for why is he acting out in this way. Because very first episode, they established that he is a very upright citizen. He is by the books. He's like by all intents and purposes a good man. And then he has a temper tantrum, as let's be real, white men usually do when they don't get something that they think is entitled to them.
Yeah.
In this case, he doesn't get the judge position, and so he just begins to lash out at the world. He starts driving drunk, and he has an affair with Alex. That's really, and I actually appreciated the first episode of kind of giving you a little bit more of Dan than the original film did, in the sense of like, okay, we get to see at least the good side of him and like his downfall.
And that's exactly what it does, is that they realize that, people are complicated and people have good and people have bad. And it decided to portray people in those colors, which is why I'm actually really upset that I didn't get to episode 3, because with episode 3, we see everything from Alex's point of view, something that the movie does not do at all in any shape or form.
Mm-hmm.
It's all Dan's point of view.
Yeah.
So that's one. Of course, the moment the show starts, I'm like, oh, interesting approach. I wonder why. It kind of did something similar to Dead Ringers last week, where it's forwarding to something that is inevitable. And the show begins with the fact that he's in jail. And he is in jail for the murder of Alex.
Right.
So Alex is dead, and he openly admits to it in the beginning.
Yes.
And his daughter is now a grown woman. So he's been in jail for some time.
I think at least 10 years.
At least 10 years, yeah.
I think I think the way the math works out, she died 15 years ago, but the last time he saw his friend was 10 years ago. And I think the reason for that is maybe it's like a 5-year trial, like appeals and stuff. He was a lawyer, so like I'm sure it takes a while.
Yeah. So already different.
Yeah.
It's adding a mystery element, what happened, all of this. And we're just seeing way more we're getting to know why he did it and the reasons for it. Even though, at the end of the day, there are no reasons for it, but, whatever.
Well, that's actually, so the first episode ends almost on the cliffhanger A cliffhanger, though, not like a little bit unlike Dead Ringers. So the cliffhanger for Dead Ringers is more like a mystery of like, oh, what happened to the sisters to get to this point? Like, how did she die? Here, it's a cliffhanger more so. Dan admits to his daughter, I didn't kill her, and I'm going to figure out who did.
Yeah.
Right? That's the cliffhanger. It's like, oh, wait, he say he didn't kill her. So what happened? And now we're kind of a little bit more, okay, let's see how the story unfolds, because simultaneously while we're watching the flashbacks, I guess, which is like the Fatal Attraction story that we know, we're also getting like he's trying to put together a team to help him figure out what happened to Alex, because I didn't kill her. And so that's where you told me about this. You just told us about this alternate ending. That's where I guess they're going. So my guess is that now, I was thinking initially, my initial thoughts were they're going to keep the original movie as like the plot for the show. And when he stops trying to kill her, like, you know, when like they're first fighting for the first time. I thought that he would just walk off and then something would happen to her, that she dies, and he would be the most likely suspect.
Yes.
Right, that's where I thought it was going to go. But you're telling me that she faked her own death, which I also kind of suspected. I told Eddie, like, oh, what did they go Gone Girl with it? Like, what if she fakes her own death? I wasn't thinking that she does commit suicide. I was thinking maybe she fakes it and is now on the lam, much like Gone Girl.
Yeah, I really wish they kept that original ending for that fucking 87 movie, man. It would have been so cool. And it would have predated so many Gone Girl, Promising Young Woman, and other things where, you know, women take their own lives, essentially, in order for this man to get the justice that, I mean, whatever. Dan, I guess, didn't deserve that, but
I don't know.
He
Now,
did.
in retrospect, when you say it like that, it just sounds like a horrible message, though, that a woman has to ultimately die for one man
man to get justice. Yeah.
His comeuppance, you know?
Yeah, seriously. So yeah, we're learning way more about both of them. And also, like, as far as what we've seen, because Rolando and I have only seen the first 2 episodes so far.
It was a busy week, guys. Sorry.
She's not, it was. She's not as unhinged quite yet, although she did take a dark turn at the end of episode 2.
But did she? So she didn't take the pills, right? She was lying.
She lied. Yeah.
She lied.
But that's manipulation.
Yeah, it is manipulation. I thought I actually enjoyed that scene, to be quite honest, because Lizzie Kaplan played it so unhinged, because she has like these beautiful like doe eyes, right?
Yeah.
And the way she's looking at him with such love, and then she's just like, how many pills? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just like her. I love Lizzie Kaplan so much. I was just so enthralled by her performance here, because she is able to play kind of a, like, turn of the, much like Glenn Close is actually able to play like that kind of like seductress and then crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
No, 100%. Yeah, she was a great choice for it. And the show does something that the movie didn't do, which is that they portray his home life to be okay. You know, like the love is kind of dwindled a little bit. Like they're just kind of now mates. They have a daughter, you know, like Amanda Peet doesn't probably see him the way he wants to be seen or love him the way he wants to be loved, which is why he's lacking something, which is why at the end of the day, people cheat because there's something wrong in the relationship for the most part. Sometimes people cheat because they're assholes. But a lot of the times when people go out looking for something else, it's because they're unhappy in what they have.
Interesting. So that's an interesting take, because I don't know, and Eddie, maybe I want to hear your thoughts on this because we watched it together, but I don't know if Amanda Peet and his relationship was so strained. Like, actually, I thought that they were playing like quite the loving family. I
wouldn't say strained, but it's not like they're not like all over each other.
They're not, but as you know, I mean, you're with someone for so long, you're not going to be all over them. But I don't think so. That's kind of why I like the first episode. I don't think his actions with Alex were driven by. They didn't seem lustful. They seem more like, I am fucking angry and I'm going to fucking take what I think is mine. And he sees her and he thinks she is his. I don't know, Eddie. What are your thoughts? Like, do you think it was like a lustful thing? I mean, they were kind of giving each other like the goo goo eyes. But what are your thoughts?
I think, lust plays a role in it, because I feel like they didn't develop enough. I mean, they did seem to have a kind of chemistry.
Yeah.
When they first met, he seems to be the kind of person that. So I like the character Dan here. There are elements of him that seem even though he has a powerful position, he sees people. He sees people. So like how he interacts, you get a lot of him interacting with co-workers, employees at the courthouse,
Victims.
you know. You see that interaction, and there's always this sense of he never talks down to anybody. There's always this collaboration and conversation. There's equalness in his movements when he deals with people. And one of the things that struck me, and I don't know why they put this in. Maybe this is a thing that fathers develop. But I don't know if you notice when they're in the Mexican restaurant, just before suddenly, mysteriously, the sprinklers go off,
yes.
right?
She goes to the bathroom.
Right. Before she goes to the bathroom, she's talking to him at the table, and I think she drops something that she has to lean down from the booth to get something from the floor, and he automatically reaches out and covers the sharp corner of the table with his hand, right? Because the thinking is, if you are not like perceptive, you'll get up really quickly and you'll catch yourself on that corner, you know? So there's something to him doing that. It's like, that says something about,
Did that make you swoon?
No, well, his character, well, let me tell you, if I was to meet someone that did that, I would definitely, their trust level towards them would increase a couple of points. Because he is aware of other people. And his awareness is not manipulation, but compassion. And of course, I think there's a couple elements here that are going on too. There's this, you know, he gets promised his job as being a judge, and there's almost a victory one-uppance on his father, you know? And this like thing like, oh, it's going to happen. And somehow, if he gets this is going to be something that's like, I'm better than my dad.
Right.
And it doesn't happen. So there's definitely a lot of anger in that. And we all kind of, we're like experience this as like us not truly knowing the character, but us are picking up these little clues about him. I don't think his rage was white man rage. I think his rage could just be a person that had to deal with a lot of shit to prove himself, and it's just doing his best.
So you disagree? You don't think that there was a little bit of entitledness to his overall downfall, like drunk driving, for example? What are your thoughts?
No. Well, I'm not for it. But I mean, I know people, we've experienced where people can just like, they drink and they just, they stupidly will take the chance.
People get caught up in their feelings, get caught up in emotions, and make stupid choices. That's human.
Wow. You guys are all definitely defending Dan.
But I also see too,
this is
another element that I see too is in people is when things are kind of going well for you, you always kind of find a way of like taking a grenade to things.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
True. People can have self-destructive tendencies.
100.
And maybe
100.
This was it. This is the culmination of entering a new decade, not getting this position, being overlooked to this position, and simply because it's not because you weren't good enough for the position, is because somebody was able to manipulate or buy the position,
right?
For somebody else, and you know that, and you feel like all the good you could do, but now you have to wait 4 years to be possibly considered again. You know, after all the hard work you kind of put in. So it's like, was this the moment where that, oh, wait a minute, there's a grenade inside me. Let me just pull this.
But this is also why I can't wait for episode 3, because of they kind of fleshed out Dan. You saw so much about him, and you really got these character quirks from him. I really hope that they give that to Alex. You know?
I think we're going to see what did she do in the bathroom, because I think she did something to set off 100%.
Right? It seems like they're going to make her into a manipulator.
And I don't understand this need to, let's go back to your place so I can dry off, except of like, I'll go home wet and dry my clothes there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
So,
Yeah.
so there was a
He
lot
just
of like
he needed an
there's a-
excuse.
There's
yeah.
a bad choices. There's bad choices, and it's interesting from these two episodes how the elevator has become kind of like a transition point in these characters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, entering the elevator, leaving the elevator, what happens on the elevator.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. Even
Yeah.
that happens
Yeah.
also at work.
You know, too. It's always, and then you know, then of course the White Rabbit at the
Yes.
at episode
I
2.
was like, what? Why?
I was like, oh my god!
Is
Or I
it
was like,
hers
well,
and she's gonna kill her own rabbit? Like what?
you know, that kind of or it has. I'd like. Unfortunately, I didn't see the other episodes really to make this connection. But all I could think of is, did he just fall down the rabbit hole? Is this going to be a kind of craziness
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
he's going to be experiencing now? Because instead of having a very predictable life, now shit's going to be
This is
different.
where it changes. Yeah. You just entered
Yeah.
the rabbit hole. I like that read. That's a good one, Eddie. See, that's what you do,
Yeah.
guys. That's how you interpret things.
I know, Eddie, good job. Like, you're really coming in strong today, stronger than me. And I actually, I studied media, you know? Yeah, we forgot to talk about this for the previous movie, but I'm going to ask you, do you think Alex was pregnant? Or
No.
was she lying? You don't think she was pregnant?
Based on her behavioral patterns, I would say it was just a manipulation ploy.
Do you think they're going to make this Alex also?
100%. They're totally going that she's gonna manipulate the shit out of him.
But do you think she's going to fake a pregnancy too? Because I feel like that's how you lose a lot of men's trust, I feel like.
I don't know, actually, and I might even go back on this because I want to watch episode 3. I really wish I did because I want to see if like maybe the way from her perception, like they put it in a way that she's not like someone who has these like behavioral issues, and that she actually got mixed signals from him. You know, it was
Imagine
this
if-
complete lack of communication. I wonder how they're gonna do it.
Now I'm curious. Like now, like is episode 3 shot like completely different, right? Because
Yeah.
the lighting for the first episode is really dramatic and dark. What if the next one is shot like a rom-com, and that's how she's imagining everything from her point of view?
Yeah, yeah.
Like the meet cute, the oh my god, we're like caught wet together. Oh my
Yeah.
god, gas. You know what I mean? Like maybe. We don't know. We haven't seen the next episode, but that brings us to the next point. So, do you see yourself continuing to watch the show?
I would probably watch an episode or two. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
I need to see what the mystery is in this, because they're hinting that this is bigger than what we thought. Like what we when the concept of the movie to the show, I'm getting like there's something conspiracy going behind
Yeah.
the curtains in this, you know, and I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Maybe Alex was used in some way here, you know, for whatever reason, because you hear these 2 cases that he's working on, you know, and it's like you're getting bits and pieces about a body not found in a car trunk,
That's right.
you know, and then it's like there's like, just give me one name. There were 4 men. Give me one name. You know, what they did to that boy was horrible. You know, you're getting all these bits and pieces and nothing substantial to make the connection, but you just wonder, are these cases in the background connected, or is this a whole other case? You know, the person who took his position, the people that were involved in getting the other person to be the judge. Is there something behind that too? Like buying a judge or having a judge in your pocket? He, you know, that this guy Dan would not have been that guy to manipulate or use as a puppet for these kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you were the one who pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, maybe she is a victim of like a crime that got pinned on Dan and stuff. But we'll see. I mean, I'm probably gonna keep watching it too, just because I enjoy Joshua Jackson. I think he is actually pretty good at when he is allowed to play, like, you know, characters like have fall from graces. I'm thinking specifically of like Dr. Death, where he was, I thought, wonderful in that.
Oh my God, that was so terrifying. You
Yeah.
know,
So and Lizzie Kaplan, I mean, I think she's so
great.
captivating.
She's great.
She's so
Yeah.
good and
Yeah.
stuff. And wow, I was surprised when she went like a full boobies out.
Yeah. No.
Well-
yeah, they really went in with the sex scenes.
what do you guys
Now-
think about? Fun.
I was
Go
going to
ahead,
say,
wait.
what do you think about the affairs that they're having? Because they're two different affairs. In
Yeah.
the movie, it was kind of he treated her a little bit more like a
Like a booty call.
but he's building an emotional relationship with this Alex.
Yeah, I would consider this more so an affair because they are opening. I think at one point he even says like, "Wow, I've never even told that to anybody," right? And as they're just conversing, so this relationship it lends itself at least for why Alex would be so deep in
Yeah.
this relationship.
Yeah.
The longer it persists, and like, you know, Dan in the TV show is letting it persist a lot. He's letting this. He's really.
He wants it more.
Yeah,
He's
he does.
actually emotionally involved.
Where Michael Douglas's Dan, he was very
But
much like
It's
a
good
booty
though
call
that
type
they're
of thing.
doing that because they're making it more complicated. So it's not just like Dan some victim or something. Like there's more involved, more at stake for both of them.
Oh yeah, no. In this one,
so-
Dan is much more culpable for his actions,
Yeah.
and I think that's part of the struggle that we're like seeing with this character. Eddie, you were gonna ask us a question. What was it?
About using, two separate time periods here.
Yeah, the back and forth. Yeah.
I always find it funny because it makes it a remake and a revival at the same time.
Or like a
Oh,
reboot?
interesting.
Reboot,
Okay.
Yeah, because you're getting like an aftermath of the movie at the same time you're getting the remake of the story of this movie. I find that very interesting.
Well,
Yeah,
we were
it's-
just talking about that, weren't we? How we're kind of tired of this cliche of starting from either the end or the middle of a story and then taking it back to the beginning.
Yeah. Well, this one doesn't necessarily do that completely,
Hmm.
right? Because of the added layer of the mystery. But this was actually more reminiscent. It's similar actually to another Viacom property, the Showtime show American Gigolo.
Yes. Yeah.
This is actually
another
much more
revived
similar,
property.
right? In which the show is taking place in two different time periods: the past, and then also the mystery in the present, of like
yeah.
why did he end up in jail, right? And
Yeah.
he's trying to solve this crime. So actually, I mean, if you take some certain elements out, like these two shows might be indistinguishable from one another.
Now, side note, did either American Gigolo or Last One on the Left get greenlit for a second season?
Oh, great question. I don't know.
Yeah, because
Probably
we
not,
stopped
to be
watching.
honest.
Yeah, no. That's why Showtime is going back to their good old Weeds and Nurse Jackie,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
What was it? The last to the left?
The
No.
last.
No. I'm thinking of The Last of Us, but it's
Oh.
Let the Right
Let
One
the
In.
right one in. Yeah, sorry. I said it wrong. I'm sorry. I said Last House on the Left. Jeez. Okay, well.
Yeah, I remember that show. It was like, it wasn't fine. It was fine. I just love the originals
it
so
was
much
fine.
that it's just
Yeah.
like kind of just like
It
eh,
wasn't, yeah.
that
but I
was
mean,
a problem.
I can't really say much more about the show until I watch more. But I will be watching at least one more. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, I want to see episode 3, so.
Yeah. And,
Um,
I've been enjoying it. I'm probably going to keep watching this.
Season.
Which one?
Let the right one in.
Speaking to the microphone.
Let the right one in did not get a second season.
That dragged.
Even though it did have a strong season though.
Like in terms of ratings?
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
what was it? What was the other one?
American Gigolo.
American Gigolo.
That-
Did we do those last year? Those were last year, right?
Yeah, last year.
Okay. Time flies. It's hard to keep
It
track.
really does. We've been doing this for so long. It all blends together.
Are you becoming jaded yet, like those critics? You know how, like, my godfather and father told me that the reason movies get so many bad reviews is because the more critics go to the theaters, the more jaded they become and like, the angrier they get.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you are, though, for sure.
I might be, for sure.
I
I'm
think,
actually
yeah.
still, I'm still way more the optimistic one over you, in my opinion.
I think so. But I don't know. Like, some movies have really got me. Like, I was not for West Side Story. If you go back to the minisode, I was like, why are they doing this? It's stupid.
Yeah.
And then I was
Yeah.
praising it for the movie, you know? So,
Yeah. Oh, no. We still get those pleasant surprises. And actually, this year so far, this side of 2023, have actually been like, I think we've had like way more surprises, like pleasant surprises than things of us hating.
Yeah, we've enjoyed most of this recent stuff we've been doing, so.
Any word on American Gigolo?
No, season 2.
No season 2. There you go. Yeah, Showtime is
see,
just...
there we go.
Yeah,
they also canceled Z-Way.
they had a lot of problems.
I don't know what that is, so.
It's a comedy show. Gosh. Expand your mind.
Yeah.
The black lead. It's actually a black talk show.
Well, maybe I'll check it out. But, guys, Fatal Attraction. Love to hear your guys' thoughts because, again, really controversial film. People have allegiances. What's your allegiance to? You know, are you more Team Dan, Team Alex? What do you think of the new show? Any thoughts you have, you should reach out to us. You can hit us up on Instagram at Remakes, Reboots, Revivals, on Twitter at Remakes Podcast. Search for us on Facebook and YouTube by searching Remakes, Reboots, Revivals, or you can email us remakesrebootsrevivals@gmail.com. And if you are listening to this on a podcasting platform, please go to our page and give us a rating. And if you can, leave us a review and let us know your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for adding in, Rolando.
Yeah,
Thanks.
totally.
All right, well,
I guess
that's it. I won't be here next week because I will be in Paris, but I will be listening on my flight home. So I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say about Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. You know what? Thank you for reminding us because maybe we're going to try to get a guest.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That would be cute. That would be really fun.
Someone to help us out talk about Dungeons and Dragons because I have a question that I want to pose. Whoever, it's probably going to be Eddie and me, but the main question is just like what qualifies as a Dungeons and Dragons movie, and that's what we're gonna get into next
this
week.
One's for the nerds, so I hope they listen.
I mean, definitely if the movie is titled Dungeons,
that's what I want to get into. I can't wait. Like that's what I want to have a very lively discussion about this. But yeah, that's what we'll be talking about next week while you're gone. Is every time you're away, like we cover like the geeky things: Superman, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons. There we go. So.
What do you cover when I'm away? Like
I did Harry Potter ones, and I did Buzz. Okay. I did the Lightyear movie.
I want to point out that Harry Potter was you covered the Broadway play, which I don't. Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that, to be quite honest.
We did Avatar.
It was such a cool experience. Eddie would love Cursed Child. You should take Eddie to see Cursed Child.
I'm not going to pay like $300 for 2 nights of my life.
It's worth it, and try and get lottery or something.
They do lottery for? How do they do lottery for that? Like it's 2 nights.
You probably would win for both nights because that you get a ticket
win
for
one
both
night.
Nights. Yeah, no.
Imagine
you buy tickets for the. But
imagine you only win for the second night.
That's great. If you go on a Saturday, it would be a matinee and a evening show. So
okay. Speaking of Harry Potter, I've been hearing more Harry Potter news regarding the remake.
Okay.
And HBO is very adamant that no, we're not going to do a direct adaptation of the books. They said that. It's just like, wait, what? What does that mean now? So like,
interesting.
You said you're remaking the series. So what is that like? Are you just gonna shake things up completely?
I am intrigued by the. Stay tuned for more on that, guys.
I feel we're gonna be like there's gonna be like a Harry Potter watch section on our on our podcast. Like it's just like
hell yeah.
What's news in Harry Potter?
Yeah, it's gonna be like at least our 3rd or 4th episode on Harry Potter properties too. So,
well, I saw this a TikTok of like someone took like scenes from. It seemed like a very like South Asian porno version of Harry Potter, gay porno.
What?
And
Send
my
this
reaction,
to me.
I'll send it to you. But my comment that's been getting a lot of likes was just like, it's like, yo, the HBO adaptation looks so good.
Put that in the show notes. I want to see it.
I'll put it on the show notes.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, stay unoriginal.